All right, Shalom Akim, Shalom, Shalom. This is your brother Zakaria Allah, branched out here in Williamsport, Pennsylvania, coming with another lesson through the Spirit. And Lord willing, this be edifying to the Lord's elect. Before I get started with this lesson, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahabushai, Bahashim, Rakha HaKudash. Double honors unto the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone who rule well and who teach well. Shalom to the Akim out there that's pushing the truth, that's laboring in the word, and that's pushing the gospel of the great kingdom that's soon to come. Shalom to the Akwath that's listening in, that's remaining true to the faith and remaining faithful and submissive to their husbands and guiding their children. And shalom to the hopeful elect of the 12 tribes that scattered abroad throughout the four corners of the earth, to you Israelite foreigners out there who live among the heathen and who look like those heathen nations. But your lineage goes back to the progenitors of the 12 tribes of the nation of Israel through the line of your fathers. All right, I want to say peace and blessings to you all. Barakatham. Okay. So, Lord willing, this won't be a very long lesson, you know what I'm saying? I only got a couple precepts lined up for this one, but I wanted to share a dream that I had this morning. And you know, it was a very vivid dream, as most of them are, you know what I'm saying? But I want to actually get started with this one precept that I have. All right. And you know what, I may share a little bit of a couple videos, you know what I'm saying? But as a matter of fact, you know, let me just get started with this dream while it's still fresh. So basically, I was in a city somewhere in America. I don't know where, but I was in a city in America. And I remember looking at a screen and Trump was on it saying, he was on the TV saying that America was invaded. You know what I'm saying? America was infiltrated, or America has been overrun, or what have you. You know what I'm saying? And as the dream goes, not long after that broadcast, there were Arabs and people from the West Asia, you know, who were all flooding the streets. You know what I'm saying? Americans were running in fear. And within no more than, I say about 2 hours. All right, no more like 2 hours. It was chaos everywhere. You know what I'm saying? Businesses were boarded up as if this was known aforetime. You know what I'm saying? As if they knew that there was going to be chaos like this. No one knew who to trust. You know what I'm saying? Nobody knew who to trust. Everybody was turning against each other. You know what I mean? I remember in a dream, people had claymores, you know, and they had trip wires, they had booby traps everywhere. You know what I'm saying? Explosions all over the place. You know, it felt like a free fall, sort of battle royale. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, nobody knew who to trust, man. Nobody. Communication had collapsed. You know what I'm saying? And it was almost like there was no, you know, that you couldn't use any devices and all that stuff, right? So there was no communication and cooperation. All right, cooperation was nearly impossible, man. You know what I'm saying? I remember that I was running around trying to find a safe place to stay or to hide. You know what I'm saying? In the midst of all this stuff that was going on, and I had a burner on me. You know what I'm saying? Those who know what I'm talking about, you know, the pew pew, if you will. You know, so I had a burner on me, man. Right? And, when I say that everyone was a potential threat, I mean everyone. Like everybody was a potential threat, man. It was that chaotic. You know what I'm saying? And when I turned the corner, some kids came up towards me and they pointed at me what appeared to be a burner. You know what I'm saying? And so, in a dream, I didn't hesitate. You know what I'm saying? I put one right in the young man's heart. You know what I'm saying? The one that was pointing it at me. I put a bullet right in his heart. You know? And he stood there puzzled while the other little boy had ran away. All right? And I looked to see what he was aiming at me with. You know what I'm saying? What did he have in his hand? And lo and behold, it was a toy. It was a toy that he had, but it looked real. And in the midst of all that chaos, it was easy to mistake that. And that's what had happened. You know what I mean? And I was so remorseful. I was so sorrowful. I was scared. And I was brokenhearted. As the child pretty much stood there and he was getting ready to fall forward as I saw his life just leaving his eyes. You know what I mean? And all I could really do was bring him close into my chest and embrace him as he took his final breath, And that was a pretty hard part in the dream. I couldn't bury him. I didn't have time. I picked him up and I just laid him somewhere, laid him somewhere in the corner away from all the stuff that was going on. You know what I mean? And I could only keep running so I could escape the chaos, man, which felt unending. You know what I'm saying? And it was only just a couple hours, man. To think that it only took a matter of hours before society had descended into ruin. You know what I'm saying? And it actually reminds me of the movie Greenland. If you haven't watched that movie, I suggest you watch it. It's a good one. You know what I'm saying? That movie Greenland, after the first impact, the social foundations had already fallen apart by sundown. You know what I mean? So after the cataclysmic event had begun, society had fallen apart within just hours. You know what I'm saying? And I remember the words that the protagonist, you know what I'm saying, the father had said while he was driving his family to safety. The words that he said was, quote, "That didn't take long," unquote. You know what I'm saying? That didn't take long as they witnessed the looting of the stores. You know what I'm saying? People were taking medicine, people were taking supplies, and that's a glimpse of what we have to look forward to here, man. So what I took from that clearly was that America is going to be invaded. America is going to be penetrated. As the scriptures call America, all right, that daughter of Babylon. You know what I'm saying? And this is that daughter of Babylon. Okay, that virgin daughter of Babylon. A virgin is a, typically speaking, a virgin is a young woman or a woman that has not been penetrated. You know what I'm saying? A woman who has not had any penetration. All right, just to keep it PG, but that's what that's what a virgin is. Well, America is the same way. America is that virgin daughter of Babylon, man. All right. America has never been invaded. You see what I'm saying? America has not been invaded by a foreign nation since its inception. You see? Since its since its establishment as a country. You see what I'm saying? So we're about to see that. We're about to see that, man. And it's going to be by many other countries, all right? Headed by Russia, all right? You can read that in the book of Ezekiel, the 30th chapter, where it says that they will enter into the unwalled villages. You know what I'm saying? And this is that place of unwalled villages. You see? So let me get this here in 2 Ezra chapter 15 and starting at verse 28. It reads, "Behold, an horrible vision, and the appearance thereof from the east, when the nations of the dragons of Arabia shall come out with many chariots, and the multitude of them shall be carried as the wind upon earth, that all they which hear them may fear and tremble. Also the Carmanians, raging in wrath, shall go forth as the wild boars of the wood, and with great power shall they come and join battle with them, and shall waste a portion of the land of the Assyrians." Okay? It says, "And then shall the dragons have the upper hand, remembering their nature. And if they shall turn themselves, conspiring together in great power to persecute them. These things shall be troubled, and keep silence through their power, and shall flee." All right? So we're about to see this time of terrible horror. You know what I'm saying? So, just keep these things in mind, man. Right? So I gotta share a couple of videos, you know what I'm saying? Like I said, hopefully it won't be too long. But I wanted to get my dream out of the way to set the stage for what we're about to go into. All right, so bear with me.
Hello, everybody. This is Joshua Lloyd Fox, Joshua Rorty, whatever you want to call me. I wasn't going to make this video today. I did not want to make this video today, but somebody sent me an article I felt I needed to read, and then I went back and established fact with 4 other sources of this. And so I feel like because I kind of set a precedent here to forewarn everybody so that you're forearmed on what to do, I'm going to give you a little piece of news from this weekend. Take it for what you will. I'm just going to give you my take on it. Right now, there's ongoing ceasefire talks in Islamabad. Trump said on Friday he was sending his representatives over there. I don't know. I haven't looked into who that is, but I saw on Al Jazeera English this morning that is ongoing, that there's actually English-speaking reporters over there, and some of the U.S. representatives and some of the Iranian representatives of there. Now, the story that was sent to me happened on Saturday night in the White House. I have confirmed this story through the Judging Freedom podcast, ex-CIA analyst Larry Johnson, Max Dashu, and others, that this is a confirmed story. On Saturday night, U.S. Joint Chiefs of Staff Air Force General Dan Kane stormed out of an emergency meeting with Trump. Insiders indicate that Trump wanted to evoke the nuclear codes as a deterrence against Iran during the ceasefire talks in Islamabad, but General Kane refused and invoked the U.S. Uniform Code of Military Justice, the UCMJ, claiming specifically Article 92 covering failure to obey. And inside the military, we call that the duty to refuse clause. That if given an unlawful order, we have a duty to refuse. An unlawful order would be striking civilian infrastructure, doing something illegal. Article 92 of the UCMJ is the military's main defense against political appointees wanting the military to break the law, and launching nuclear weapons into Iran as a deterrent to take control of the talks, or to, bully and power their way in. Article 92 keeps the military from having to follow those orders. Apparently, the Joint Chiefs of Staff went ahead and invoked Article 92, the duty to refuse clause, because Donald Trump wanted to send nuclear weapons in, or nuclear bombs into Iran. I have confirmed it. 4 different sources. There's pictures of Kane coming out of that meeting with his head down, shaking his head. We are on the precipice, everybody. As I have been saying for 7 or 8 weeks now, all of the military equipment and hardware and assets in that area, plus the mindset of both administrations, to me, as an analyst, concludes in one reality. And it looks like Trump is trying to get ahead of the game, as he's always done. Listen, I'm going to follow this more. I didn't want to give this video because everybody's saying I'm doing nothing but fear-mongering. But we live in very, very scary times, because the world leaders are very scary, scary individuals. So more to come. Look into this if you want to. Like I said, the Judging Freedom podcast, ex-CIA analyst Larry Johnson is saying it, and Max Dashow and others.
Right. So let's go and look at this this interview in question. All right. And let's hear from Larry Ellison himself. All right. All right, Slakia. I said Larry Ellison. I meant to say Larry Johnson. But this is the podcast, Judging Freedom. Okay. And the video is Larry Johnson, who controls Hormuz. So let's listen in.
So that's their initial demand, and we'll go back and forth. No, that's, Iran's in the same position. So they're going to retaliate for this attack on this ship that was coming from China to Iran. And, the escalation will be on. I look, the United States is planning to attack Iran. That's clear. There is no genuine desire to have a peace agreement.
Wow. And
this is what we've been telling you. You know what I'm saying? That there will be no peace. All right. There's no peace, because this is not what these Edomites want. They don't want peace. All right. There will be war. As a matter of fact, let me take it up even further. The Most High doesn't want peace. He wants war. You see? He wants war. The scriptures say that he mustereth the host of the battle. Let's go there. Let's go to Isaiah chapter 13. Isaiah chapter 13, verse 4, it says, "The noise of a multitude in the mountains, like as of a great people. A tumultuous noise of the kingdoms of nations, gathered together. The Lord of hosts mustereth the host of the battle." You see? And it's the Lord's desire to bring all these nations together. Let's go to Zephaniah. All right, let's go to Zephaniah chapter 3 and verse 8. It says, "Therefore wait ye upon me, saith the Lord, until the day that I rise up to the prey. For my determination is to gather the nations, that I may assemble the kingdoms, to pour upon them mine indignation, even all my fierce anger. for all the earth shall be devoured with the fire of my jealousy. So it's the Lord's desire to bring bring together all these nations, to assemble them. All right. So all of what you're seeing happening right now in West Asia, in the Levant region, you see what I'm saying? All of this is the culmination that's necessary to bring about the Lord's wrath. Okay, when He will plead with the nations, as is written in the book of Joel, the 3rd chapter. Right. So continuing on.
Vance, Witkoff, and Kushner in Islamabad, are they just sitting there waiting for the Iranian delegation, or don't we know?
I don't know. They were insistent yesterday that they were going. And the Iranians are saying we're not. So it's at an impasse. The Pakistanis are working. They're working hard to try to pull this off. What I was told by someone who had direct.
Because quite honestly, you know what I'm saying, if you're at the receiving end of all this aggression, you know what I'm saying, and what a coincidence, all this aggression just seems to, happen during the same time when there's peace talks that's going around. You know what I'm saying? Like the saying goes, you fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. You know what I'm saying? And this has happened. All right, this has happened twice already. So this is a pattern that you're looking at. And no fool, all right, you got to be a fool to go in there thinking that these people, all right, are genuine about peace when they've shown you over and over again that that's not their forte. That's not their that's not their objective. You see what I'm saying? Isaiah chapter 48, verse 22. There is no peace, saith the Lord Yahweh, unto the wicked.
Information was, as of Friday, there actually had been an agreement, a decision on the part of the United States to make those concessions that Iran was demanding. And that this would have brought it into it. And then Trump got into the middle of it and blew it up. So, Vance apparently is still working behind the scenes. I think they recognize that the administration is in real trouble politically, that if they continue down this road to war, that it is going to destroy any hope of a Republican victory in November. It's going to leave Trump isolated. His polling now is now 37% favorability, and that continues to drop. More than 53% of the American people are very opposed to this war in Iran and the support for what's going to Israel. So, they're not insane. They recognize they've got some problems. They got to try to deal with it. And then there was a report out that they had an emergency meeting Saturday night. And apparently, one report coming out of that meeting at the White House is that Trump wanted to use the nuclear codes, and General Dan Kane stood up and said no. He invoked his privilege as the head of the military, so to speak. It was apparently quite a blow up. There are pictures of Kane coming out of that meeting with his head down to the ground. So, there's some very, very bizarre things going on in D.C.
Well, on Saturday night, excuse me, Larry, Trump said, this is hard to say with a straight face, but this is what he said. Trump said that the U.S. and Iran would jointly excavate the enriched uranium.
Yeah.
And remove it. Has he lost his mind?
A short answer, yes. Yeah, there's Donald Trump is there is something seriously wrong with him in terms of what his tweeting on social media, or on Truth Social in particular, and then the crazy public statements. Go back and look at what he said on Friday in the period of about 30 minutes. he claimed that, oh, Iran's agreed, there's going to be peace, a deal is near. It was all manipulating the stock market and the commodities markets, but none of it was true. And Iran, Iran's sitting there watching what he's saying and is saying, you begin to come to the position that you can't trust anything that is coming out of Donald Trump's mouth.
Well, did the Navy fire at this Iranian vessel, either to terrify the crew or disable it?
Yeah, no, they fired at it. There is a video showing the ship firing. You don't see the impact. The reports on social media, on Telegram, and stipulate that it hit the engine room, disabled the vessel. Now, again, it's important to emphasize this is an Iranian flag vessel. It was coming from China, headed to Iran, and it's a container ship. Those 40-foot containers that show up on the back of trucks roaring along the highways in the United States. That's what they were carrying.
Wow. What do your sources tell you about what's going to happen next? You told us about General Kane storming out of a meeting at which the president said he wanted to familiarize himself with the nuclear codes, but yet they keep reintroducing troops to the area. Right. What are Trump and Hegseth, either with or without? There's General Kane storming out.
Yeah. You see the head, the head down. Is it right there? Yeah. So,
what are Trump and Hegseth planning?
Yeah. So this is this is only going to continue to escalate. You know what I'm saying? And before long, you're going to see the prophecy of Ezekiel, the 38th chapter, take place. You know what I'm saying? Where this unwalled village, all right, the unwalled villages, which is America, is going to be penetrated. It's going to be infiltrated. You see what I'm saying? It's going to be overrun. You know what I'm saying? And as you can already see, all right, there's contention within the military brass, all right, against the administration. You know what I'm saying? Generals and admirals are being fired left and right. You know what I'm saying? As you saw General Kane standing right there, all right, walking out of the meeting, looking rather disturbed, because everybody knows that once you go nuclear, it's going to set off a complete chain reaction, and every nation will be against the nation that does this. You know what I'm saying? So, that major event is going to happen. You know what I'm saying? It's only a matter of time. Just because you don't see it happening at this very moment does not mean that it's not coming. It's coming. You know what I'm saying? The Lord has spoken the word, and he will perform it. You see what I'm saying? So I'm going to end it off with Jeremiah, the 51st chapter. Let's start at 12th verse. All right. And it reads, "Set up the standard upon the walls of Babylon. Make the watch strong. Set up the watchmen. Prepare the ambushes. For the Lord Yahweh has both devised and done that which he spake against the inhabitants of Babylon." All right, and this is the new Babylon. This is the virgin daughter of Babylon. This is also known as Mystery Babylon. You see what I'm saying? This is America, man. All right. A lot of people don't want to believe that, but it is what it is. It is what it is. If you don't have the spirit to be able to discern this and the spirit's not working with you, you won't be able to see it. You know what I'm saying? You won't be able to see it, and that's not my problem. All right? But the prophecies state what they say. Verse 13, "O thou that dwellest upon many waters," it's the same thing. You go to Revelation 17th chapter. What does it say? Mystery Babylon, okay, who sitteth upon many waters, right? So Jeremiah 51:13 again, it says, O thou that dwellest upon many waters, abundant in treasures, thine end is come, and the measure of thy covetousness. The Lord of hosts hath sworn by himself, saying, Surely I will fill thee with men as with caterpillars, and they shall lift up a shout against thee. Okay, that's what's going to happen when America is invaded. You see what I'm saying? That's what went down in my dream. Okay, America was invaded. Chaos everywhere. You know what I'm saying? So I'm going to cut that there, man. I pray this lesson was edifying to the elect of the nation of Israel. This has been your brother Zakaria Allah, branched out here in Williamsport, Pennsylvania. In closing, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashim Yahushai, Bahashim Ruchak Wadash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone who rule well and who teach well. Peace and blessings to the hopeful elect. Shalom.